In this video, we're going to cover one of my favorite areas of the law, police misconduct. And also, we're going to cover a little bit of jail misconduct. Now, I am one of the few lawyers in the tri-state that handle these cases. And I'm not going to name the names of the other couple lawyers that do it who I admire and respect, because I want you to call me and not them. Ever since I fought a police officer in a cage match, my official record is 0-1. I can tell you right now that the reason why I did that was not just because of the fun, but for the publicity, because I thought to myself, you know what? If you are beat up by a police officer, who are you going to call? You're going to call the lawyer that fought a cop in a cage. And I want to tell you right now, I feel like I've established myself as probably the #1 lawyer in the tri-state handling police and jail misconduct cases. It must be true, because it seems like every time something happens on the news, we get called. Now, obviously, we're not going to represent everybody because people have relationships. But this is an area of the law which is very challenging, because police officers, just like doctors, but police officers never, ever, ever want to admit they did something wrong. So they're very challenging. So let's go through an overview. And I want to stress this. This is an overview. These cases are very complex, but if something happened to you last night and you're watching this video, it'll help you understand what we're going to do for you. Police misconduct. Let's go. All right. Let's start with the basic. A police officer making a mistake isn't a case. And guess what? Police officers make mistakes all the time. One of the most common is, God forbid, you're somebody that got arrested on a mistaken identity. A warrant is out for your arrest, and you get arrested, and it's not you. Guess what? The law protects, as they should, police officers for making mistakes, because look at all the cops in the tri-state area and all the police officers in this country. When they make a mistake, can you imagine the cities, counties, and states getting sued left and right for negligence? So that's why I'm pretty tough on them, because they are protected for their mistakes. So when they do something intentionally wrong, that's a shame. And I want to just go ahead and get this out of the way. There is nothing more scary in society, in my opinion, than a crooked police officer. Why? A judge doesn't have the power to arrest. I don't have the power to arrest. We put in the hands of law enforcement the power to take somebody's freedom and liberty away. Just think about that for a minute. And you think about their training. You know, don't you think that a guy with a 4-year college degree, 3-year law degree, might be in a better position to judge and handle a situation? I do, but guess what? That's just not the perfect world. We have police officers that are out there making decisions every day that impact people's lives. I think we can say, hey, we're going to forgive you for your mistakes, but we are not going to forgive you for dishonesty. Again, negligence is not enough. What you have to show under the law is what we call deliberate indifference. This is a fancy word, really, for really intentional. In other words, something you do intentionally. There's a reason why you see lawsuits when a police officer beats the hell out of somebody who's handcuffed. That's intentional. But the term we use is deliberate indifference. But by the way, back to this term, let me give you an example. Do you know if a police officer drops you off, and let's say you're drunk, there's cases on this. Let's say you are totally drunk, and a police officer drops you off on the side of the road, and something bad happens to you. No case. They have what we call immunity. This is a principle where we say we're going to give you immunity from suit. It goes all the way back to the days of the kings. When there was a king, we did not want the king to be sued. We don't want the president to be sued. You can't sue the president of the United States while he's president, because we don't want him distracted. So they have immunity from being sued. There are some exceptions. Official versus personal capacity. Usually, you can only sue a police officer in what we refer to, and I keep forgetting I have this little thing, what's called personal as opposed to official capacity. Official capacity comes into play like if a chief has a policy in his department which would be in violation of the law. Difficult to prove. And you usually are going to be in federal court. I want to tell you something right now. You want to be in federal court. Let me tell you a funny story on myself. I only filed one, and it was my first, jail misconduct case in state court. My first and only one. Not only did I have a very good case, they let a guy almost die from an appendix rupturing. Not only did I have one of the top prison experts in the entire country on my side, but the state court judge not only dismissed it, she sanctioned me $30,000 to pay all the attorney fees for the other side. It's on appeal, but I'm like, are you kidding me? You know why? State court judges are much more vulnerable to the influence of the politics around police. It's great politics for to have the FOP endorsing you and supporting you. Federal judges, by the way, I find them to be pro-law enforcement too, but they're appointed for life. They don't have to worry about elections. And because they handle so many of them, they understand the law on police misconduct. So when you come to me with a police misconduct case, we want to be in federal court. They say, old expression, don't make a federal case out of it. You want to make a federal case out of a police misconduct case. The statute of limitations. The bottom line on the statute of limitations, and it varies, but you're generally just talking about a year from when the incident happened that gives rise to the claim. Excessive force, that's the most common. And by the way, just because you were rightfully, let's say you commit a burglary and they arrest you, just because they arrest you appropriately because you committed a burglary does not give them the right, while you're handcuffed, to pound you and beat you up. Lots of shades of gray here, but this is the most common claim that there is excessive force. My most famous excessive force case, which is going on right now, and I'm going to be arguing it in the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals, involves a naked black man that was walking along the interstate, and law enforcement officials immediately arrested him and started tasing him and beating the hell out of the guy. His crime? Being naked. I tried the case to the jury where they convicted him of disorderly conduct. And you know what I told the jury? I says, my client was naked along the interstate. I would expect that you're going to convict him for disorderly conduct. He was naked. But does that mean, let's beat the hell out of the guy? So that covers excessive force. 1983 claim. This is a section of what we call the United States Code, which is federal law, that you bring these claims under. It's called a 1983 claim. And you're entitled, under a 1983 claim, to get attorney fees. What that means is, let's say you battle for years, and these cases take forever. You battle for years. You can get attorney fees of $200,000 even if you only recovered 10 grand for your client. Why do they allow that? So lawyers are willing to help people whose civil rights are severely violated. Here's another claim. Malicious prosecution. This is when they do not have probable cause and the criminal case is dismissed. You win. I have a lot of these. I probably bring more of these than any lawyer in the tri-state because it makes me so mad. Let me tell you why it makes me mad. Police officers and prosecutors and even some judges act as if somebody wrongfully arrests you and you go to jail and you get bailed out and the case gets dismissed. Sorry about your little inconvenience. Little inconvenience. You're handcuffed. You're put in the back of a cruiser. You're taken to a jail that doesn't smell very good. You inconvenience your life. You might lose your job. Your family's inconvenienced. You got to get bailed out. You have to hire a lawyer. You got to go to court. You got to go through all this hell. And guess what also happens now? You're on Jail Tracker. Everybody in the world buys the little magazine, all the little busybodies, and they're looking at your picture forevermore on the internet, giggling. True story. My secretary, one of my secretaries, who handles my criminal misconduct cases, brought into the office one of those magazines yesterday because she knew somebody got arrested one, and I mocked her and made fun of her. I said to her, I can't believe you're one of the people that buy those things. So if you get arrested, even on a little disorderly conduct charge, it is a big, big deal. And let me tell you something. If you have any inclination that a police officer did something wrong and arrested you wrongfully, I want to be in on it as soon as possible. I don't want another criminal defense attorney have you plead guilty and then you come to see me and it's too late. You got to win. You got to win. to bring a malicious prosecution claim. You got to prove they didn't have probable cause. Now, at some point in time, if you have a preliminary hearing and the judge decides that there was probable cause, you can still overcome that through other evidence. Again, one more time, if you think a police officer did something wrong, I want to represent you in your criminal case, and I'll give you the bang for your buck. I usually will not charge you in the criminal case if I got a good police misconduct case. Can you feel the passion coming out of this? I love this. And by the way, I'm going to give her a special recognition in these type of cases. Ashley Bolander, who works for me, I'm telling you her name because she's somebody you'll work with me. All she does for me is help me on these police misconduct cases. And she's a young lawyer, but what I love about Ashley is she is me as a woman. She cusses, she fights, she gets mad at some of the things that happen to our clients. She's got all the passion I got. And every one of my clients, because we do these cases together, love her to death. So if you're watching this video, that's a name you're going to remember is Ashley Bolander. And some of the things that we see and witness are unbelievable. But don't worry, I want to stress this. I try the cases.